Hello everyone, I thought I want to make this video since, this channel is supposed to be like a dev channel and I've been uploading only devlogs, so I was thinking maybe I should like make a open source tool on both of the engines I use, and I thought of this idea to port GameMaker projects into Godot. It might sound really ridiculous, but I think it could be possible, but I'm gonna explain why, and a lot of problems that it has and everything else. So I was working on this tool called GM2Godot, which is a tool that converts your GameMaker projects to Godot projects. So basically I'm gonna do a small showcase of it. I have a GitHub page as well, so you can check it out. I'll talk about that later. So if I select a GameMaker project, so this is a Godot project basically. Actually, let me just demonstrate by opening a Godot project. So actually, I'm not going to open it, I'm just going to make a new one. So I'm going to make a brand new one. Keep in mind that I'm going to give it a completely different name, so I'm going to call this test 3 because I have 2 tests. This is my first take, so I didn't make any takes of this. I'm going to select this folder. So keep in mind this project is called test 3. I'm going to create it. And basically, this is going to be created right here, and I'm going to close this project because it's empty. I recommend making empty Godot projects for this. So if I select this now, you will see that it's going to search for project.godot because this is a file where it contains how your project is structured. So it's trying to find this file. If you select anything else, so if you select something that isn't a Godot project, it will give you an error saying it's not a Godot project. So if you select this, it will find it again. And also same with GameMaker. So GameMaker needs to find a YYP file, which is how GameMaker projects are structured. So before I start the conversion, so I've selected 2 of the the files, which is enough. If I go to settings, I can choose what I want to convert. Note that these checkboxes are like not all of the checkboxes work. So objects, nodes, and shaders, for example, do not work, but I am planning to add those features in. So I will talk about objects specifically because you might be scratching your heads if you know GameMaker and Godot a lot. So, but I'm gonna select everything here. So sprites and sounds and stuff is going to be converted. I'm gonna click save, and I'm gonna click convert. So what's gonna happen is that it's going to convert all the sprites from GameMaker, and it's going to make folders in the Godot project and convert them. So there's a nice progress bar at the bottom and also a timer, how long it takes. So it's firstly going to start to do the sprites. So if I go to the project while this is going on, you can see over here that it has already made an icon for the game, and also it has imported sprites over. It is still importing sprites, I'm not going to touch it. It's going to take a while to do this, but once it's pretty much done with the sprites, and by the way, this GameMaker project is quite big, so that's why it's taking a long time, but once it's done with sprites, it's going to start converting sounds, which is much faster, and then it's going to be pretty much done because I haven't really developed this a lot, like this app a lot. It's going to start doing sounds, and there it is. It says you put project from GameMaker to Godot, have fun. And if I go to Godot again, so if I go to Godot, you can see that in this test 3 folder I've created previously, it has made this Asteroids++ game. I'll make another project actually because these 2 are exactly the same. So I have another one, and this time I'm actually going to select a slightly smaller project, and you're going to see it works exactly the same. If I close out of Godot and if I go to my tool, I'm going to select a different project, the colorful creature, and I'm going to select test 4. It has found both of the files. I'm just gonna I'm gonna just convert everything here. The sprites are gonna be a bit faster, but you can see it converts stuff from the GameMaker project to the test 4 folder, and I'm actually gonna open the Godot again, and you can see it has ported the icon for the game, and also it also ports stuff like descriptions and some settings from GameMaker to the Godot. And also what it also ports, which I didn't talk about, is this default bus layout, which for Godot, it is basically audio buses. So GameMaker has something similar to audio buses that Godot has, and that's called audio groups. So if I go to GameMaker, Asteroids has 3 audio groups. It has this audio default one, then it has sounds, and then it has music. So if I go to the default bus layout, and if I open it, oh my god, was it so slow? I guess I'm running the thing, but you can see it has made sounds and music. Master is seen as this audio group default audio group. So yeah, so it makes all of these and makes everything here by default. And once this is done, where's my tool? You see it has completely converted this project, and I can open it. And I can also see in the project settings that it has put a description here. It has, oh my god, it's Godot has to re-import all the assets, since if it finds anything new in the project, it will just do this. It will port all of the PNG files in the Godot project, and also all of the sounds. And then I can actually start using the project. But you can see also in the file system, you're gonna see new folders such as fonts, sprites, sounds, stuff, and the icons. You can see the version is all supported, the icon PNG. Also, it has changed some settings. For example, show image for the boot splash, because in the GameMaker's project settings, in that specific game, I've disabled show splash screen. So if you disable the splash screen in GameMaker, it will also disable it in Godot. It will also change stuff like if your game is windowed or full screen, or if it can be resized or borderless. But this is also default in Godot, so nothing changed there. And also with the what is the textures? Yeah. Oh wait, no. I thought it was gonna like change default texture filter to nearest. I don't know what happened there, but it's fine. Doesn't matter. So yeah, and if you're wondering how all this works, you need to know how GameMaker's sprites and sounds are structured, is pretty much. So how they're structured, I'm gonna go to one of the GameMaker projects. I'm just gonna go to Asteroids because it's much more well organized. So if I go over here, this is how a GameMaker project is structured. So you have all of these folders, which are basically like types of stuff that you can have. You can have objects, which are kind of like nodes in Godot, with like scripts and events, which are basically like if you create an object, a script runs, or step event, which is basically like a process script in Godot. So objects have these events and scripts, and also has a sprite attached to it. So I can add like a player sprite to the object, which is basically like in Godot giving a sprite to a node. But the reason why I only did sprites and sounds for now is because I want to keep things simple, and I want to port stuff that I think is the easiest to port, instead of porting stuff like, I don't know, changing GML to GD script, which is insanely hard, especially when these two languages are always changing. So, but that's not the focus of the project yet. So I'm gonna show you guys how I ported sprites. So what the program is doing. Also, I've written this in Python, but I'll also explain why I did. But before I get ahead of myself, so if I go to sprites, you see how all of the sprites are inside these folders. So these are the name of the sprites I've given in GameMaker. So if I go to one of these sprites, like let's go to SCandy, you're going to see that there's a bunch of images in these folders, but also there's a layers folder inside. And this is where actually my program takes all the images in these layers folders. And the reason why is because sometimes this folder in particular is inaccurate, this one that I'm looking at. The reason why is because if I search for another sprite, but in this sprite I've deleted some of the older sprites, for some reason GameMaker just keeps them in, and these are not used. You can see these sprites are not in the game at all. But if I go to layers, these ones are in the game. But one problem with sprites that I have currently in the moment is that, like, if I go to this particular sprite, S large meteorite, So if I go over here, oh wait, this is the wrong project, hold on. So when I re-import stuff and when I search for large asteroid, you can see that these frames are completely random, which is obviously bad because eventually I want to make like an animated sprite 2D or something like that and merge all these images together to make an animation, since the reason why there are so many images is because this sprite in particular has frames. So pretty much it's supposed to look like this. So if I go to large asteroid in GameMaker, it's supposed to show the animation like this, right? But you can't make an animation like this if you have randomized images. So how am I supposed to fix that, right? Especially when I have these random images that are incorrect. They're not even in the game, right? So GameMaker has this fun file called YY. I don't know what YY means, but it doesn't matter because these files in particular for sprites have an order in them. So it has information like what the sprite is called, what's the collision for it, what kind of collision it has, and some other fun settings. But most importantly, there's this frames information in this JSON file. And basically, what's really important for me is these names and the order how they're placed. So this is frame 0, frame 1, frame 2. And currently how my tool takes images is it doesn't even look at this YY file, which I'm looking forward to do. So once I correctly look at what the order of the sprites is, I can make a animated sprite 2D. So I make like a trace file, which is basically like if I go to right click, create new and scene, or actually wait, I don't know if there's like a specific animated sprite or animation. I have to still look at it, but pretty much I can make a new scene or something like that, and inside this scene I can make an animated sprite 2D, and inside that animated sprite 2D I can put all of these images together and make an animation based on whatever GameMaker gives me, basically. Another thing that I was thinking of for sounds is that some sounds are mono, some sounds are stereo, so I have to look through the data with that as well. So what's next for this tool? So basically I made all these sounds, but the problem is that I can't assign audio buses to specific sounds. So if I go to the sound in particular, for example, I have no option to choose, okay, this is a music file. The only way I can do it is if I make a scene and if I make a audio stream player or something like that, and I have this bus option and I can choose sounds or music, which works really well, but I can't make it for individual sounds. It has to be inside a node, which is a bummer. So instead, what I think I will do is maybe the tool will make like folders like music, for example, and inside this folder of music, it will place like all of these music files inside of here, for example. Like I was thinking to do that maybe, which could structure sounds a bit better, but I don't know if I have like a different solution for it. So that's going to be quite difficult to figure out. As for fonts, so how fonts are displayed in GameMaker is that they're literally just PNG files, which is a bit annoying. They're not actual font files, so all you get is pretty much this. But inside of these YY files, again, you have information like what kind of a font it is. So I'm thinking maybe I can take this information and maybe download a font, or maybe take it from the operating system if it exists, and then put it inside of a Godot project, because Godot actually uses fonts instead of just doing what GameMaker does, which is really annoying. As for tile sets, I don't have a specific example for tile sets, but I think it could be possible. But Godot 4.3 is coming out with tile maps and stuff, which is going to change how tile sets work. So I think I'll wait on Godot 4.3 until that happens. As for objects are probably going to be the most difficult, because objects are literally everywhere inside of every single GameMaker project. But pretty much in the beginning, I'm thinking maybe objects will be like this. So imagine this is an object, and each object has a sprite 2D or animated 2D. And this, if I go to any object, so I'll go to anything literally, you see that each object has this sprite and it chooses S small asteroid. So in Godot, imagine this S sprite 2D is basically S small asteroid, for example. So I put this here, and this is a S small asteroid. Next, what it would do is it would look at events, for example, and these events would be create, destroy, step, etc. And create is pretty much, if I made a script inside, it would be the ready function, and then the step event would be pretty much process. Input would be input. So if I add something like press the spacebar button, it would make a function input. So then it would probably do something like this. So if input key is pressed, I can do key space. And this if statement would be something like if I created an event on key pressed on space, for example. And I don't have any idea how I would convert GML to GD script, but that would be pretty much the last thing I would do because it would be really hard. So yeah, I was working on this tool for a few days now, and if you're an intellectual unlike me, please help me make this project. I don't know how far I will go with this project, but it's completely open source. You can use it, you can play around with it. I don't know if I'm going to do more updates on this tool. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, if I have something interesting to showcase, but that's about it. I hope that was interesting. So yeah. I forgot to say that I have this Git repository. I know I talked about this in the beginning of the video, but I said that I was going to talk about it later, but yeah, this is the repo of it. You also have issues here, so if you have anything to suggest, please suggest it here. Over here you have milestones, so you can see what I'm working on and what are the plans. I'm going to add more milestones and stuff. As for Contributing.MD, it is still not done, but I'm going to make it later, and it's going to give you instructions on how to contribute. Also in the repo, if you go at the bottom, you can see how you can actually install the program, and also there's instructions for Linux as well. For some reason, I did not even show you guys that this works on Linux. I don't know why I didn't. Man, like I'm really not feeling too well, am I? So if I go to Python and then main py, this is how you would like run the project. You can see this is the exact same project as in Windows, so which is really convenient since this is made in Python. I didn't even explain why this is made in Python exactly like this. I want to make it as easy as possible for people to contribute, which is why this is made in Python. I know it could be more optimized if I made it in C++ or something like that, but I don't know if it's that necessary, to be honest, since like this would be only used if you would just convert projects only, like you would not really use this tool regularly, so it would be kind of like you just convert like a couple of projects maybe in Godot, and that's about it. You don't really ever have to use this tool again, or I don't know, it was just kind of my thought process. And I know there's different libraries for GUI, if you were wondering about that. I know that. I know I could have used a different library or something like that, and I've tried it, but I think that this was the best compromise for compatibility in general. So yeah, that's about it.